A doctor welcomes a girl back to life. Doctor is explaining about her health to her. She is confused. Let's go back 182 days in the past. Tessa is a young beautiful girl whose passion is photography. She takes pictures of everything and everywhere. One day, she decides to go watch a movie. Because she is fond of watching romance films. She cannot understand the movie due to it being a Spanish film. The guy decides to help her out and translates everything the movie depicts and whispers it in Tessa's ears. Tessa is emotional due to sad ending of the movie. Both go out of the cinema hall. The guy tries to be a bit cheesy, it sounds a little awkward, and they part their ways. He looks back and tells Tessa his name's Skylar, and so does she. After a minute, she figures out that she left her jacket inside the cinema hall, and she also finds Skylar's hat. We are back to the scene, where Tessa is in the hospital and dreams of Skylar in her bed, who want to show her something. She suddenly wakes up from the dream. She explained to her foster parents and the doctor that she can see Skylar like he is still with her. Later, she wakes up at night and starts to cry thinking of Skylar. She gets a text message from unknown number and is shocked to find a picture. In a few days, she meets a woman who specializes in after-death incidents. She suggests Tessa to read her book, but she denies it. We again go back 102 days, this time. Tessa is wondering about the man who is actually Skylar. After explaining about her photo in her class, she goes home. It is clear that her passion for photos is not ordinary. Tessa and her friend is invited into a sports game, where Tessa takes pictures and finds out Skylar is one of them, and he manages to win the game. Later on, when Tessa goes towards Skylar to give his hat back and say hi, Skylar acts like he just found a long-lost treasure. Skylar's mom reveals Tessa that he has been looking for her on internet for a long time. There they decide to meet up again. They go out in Skylar's car, where she gets to know that Skylar's parents' relation isn't too great and he is worried about it. On the date, she reveals to Skylar about a mysterious place, where she goes to take photographs. Thereafter, wandering a bit, they sit down in a tub, where Tessa tells him that he has not kissed her yet. They slowly start to kiss. We are back in the current timeline, where Tessa is looking at Skylar pictures with sadness in her eyes. Her friend picks her up, but when Tessa hears the same song she listened with Skylar, she cannot resist herself and starts to cry. One night she throws away her pictures and equipments, to which her foster dad is pissed and they argue a bit. Usually she would just want to be left alone. This time she starts to use her photo equipments and try to make new photos, and she finds out that the old photo maker is making some new photos with Skylar presence in it. She starts to read more books and watch more videos of Miss Doris. Let's go back to 65 days ago. Skylar and Tessa are on a beach, where Skylar is very upset with his parents splitting up. They kiss in the end of the talk. Later, Skylar watches all her pictures in her home and is amazed by it. Next day, she wakes up very early and is ready to go with Skylar. They go inside a jungle and decide to boat. Skylar teaches Tessa on how to boat and they look a bit closer. Skylar tells her that he loves her, where she does not reply anything, but later she starts to kiss him and they make love. Back in the present timeline, she is explaining her friend about paranormal things, but she ignores her. In the exam, Tessa's pencil starts to move forcefully and everyone's phone starts to ring, indicating Skylar's presence. 11 days before the accident, Skylar and Tessa are in an art gallery, where they meet Skylar's father. Skylar took one of her pictures and put it on sale, to which she feels annoyed and angry. They have a small argument about it and talk about their future. They want to live together, but on one side Skylar is going to another state and wants Tessa to join his state school, but Tessa thinks she will not be able to afford it. They text to each other, where Tessa is missing Skylar. In the present timeline, Tessa and her friend Shannon decide to do voodoo table. But it seems to not work out. She gets a call from her foster mom and goes back to give her car back. Suddenly, upon arrival, she gets a GPS pointed towards some location and take it as a sign from Skylar. She follows it and finds out the same woman named Doris, where she explains to her to go to the places to meet Skylar, where she and Skylar were showing intense love. She also explains that there may be no coming back from the barrier in between. For days before the accident, she go to a party with her friend and finally decides to say those 3 magical words to Skylar. Instead gets to know that Skylar has already decided to go to another state and she is even more pissed at him now. He explains that his father is not okay and he need to be with him, that is why he is going. Back in present timeline, she tried several places one by one and come to the location, where they both kissed. There she is able to open a barrier and sees Skylar on the other side, but when he tries to break the barrier, he breaks the mirror instead, and right after, police arrives, because her foster parents traced her location. While having an argument, Tessa goes unconscious and later gets to know that, if she does not get the treatment that night, she will not be alive next morning. She calls her friend and they both try to go to last location to meet Skylar, but Skylar itself starts to help them by driving their car to the location where the accident occurred. Tessa goes unconscious again and sees herself as a ghost. She also sees the incident where they meet again before Skylar is about to leave the city. She eventually tells him that she loves him, and seeing that, her ghost form is finally happy. Not only this, but she also sees the ghost Skylar. She kisses him and hugs him. They see themselves in a house, and now she has to choose either her family or Skylar. She chooses her family and wakes up, where her foster parents greets her with happiness. Later on, she is giving presentation to big judges of some big organization and appreciating Skylar's suggestion about pursuing her dreams.